Hey people, Personal Juice is back. Today I want to show you guys what I think are some of the best builds for this league and why I think so. Now, for you to understand why I chose those builds, I want to explain to you my reasoning. Number one for this league, I believe, is going to be speed clear. All the builds that you're going to be choosing are going to be reliant on speed clear. If you're going to be going for a slow build, I feel like you'll be missing out on too much value from ultimatums and too much value from other league mechanics. For example, my idea for this league is going to be farming Junes and farming ultimatums as fast as possible, alongside farming Harbingers from the new S tier Atlas Ascendancies. Now, apart from the speed clear itself, I believe the build has to be able to farm high tier maps and be able to kill bosses quite reliably. Chris Wilson have mentioned that on a 10th wave of the ultimatum, you're gonna get a surprise. I'm assuming you're gonna get a boss or some kind of a really challenging monster. So if a build is not capable of doing big damage, big DPS, you probably won't be having that much of a good time. Again, it's all about how strong your build is and not really about how tanky you are yet. I'm, I'm not entirely sure how one-shotted the mechanic is going to be, but in most cases I prefer to go for full damage and full speed clear rather than going for a little bit more tankiness. Now, of course, you can have a balance. For example, there are some really fast champ builds that are really tanky as well, but I'll take a look at those at a later time. Now, once we have a speed and we have the damage for a build, I think I'm ready to show you what builds I have chosen for this league, and I'll explain to you guys why. I have made a selection of builds I found on YouTube that looked really good, and they show that they can do the content I want them to do. All of those builds are viable of killing high tier bosses, they all are capable of killing Cyruses, they're all capable of killing high tier bosses, content, and all of those things, as well as being really fast at that. Now, my first selection is going to be Essence Drain, of course. There isn't one league that doesn't have Essence Drain. I have been playing Essence Drain for about 2 years, I believe, and it have never failed to make me enjoy the game. The build is really good, the build is really powerful. Farming legions on Essence Drain has always been really fun and enjoyable, and I believe that Ultimatum, being a close circle, I'm sure you guys have seen the videos of Ultimatum. The circle of the Ultimatum itself is quite small, so if you have an Essence Drain, I believe that you'll be able to chain attacks, chain Essence Drain between all of the monsters in a single cast. I feel like the Ultimatum will feel kind of like Legion. You'll be able to hit one monster, and if your build is good enough, you'll probably be able to chain all of the monsters in between them. Now let me show you guys how the build plays. As you can see, the build presses one button and it clears half the map. Of course, you're gonna have a lot less monsters in Ultimatum maps, but Ultimatum itself is what we're looking for. We're looking for a build that's able to farm monsters on a chain scale. You press one button, clear ultimatums, and you go for another ultimatum. Now, Essence Drain is also viable for bossing, but it falls off really hard, which is why Essence Drain will be at the bottom of my list. Essence Drain has shown itself to be very practical and very good, but it falls off so much so that I will not be playing in this league, but I think you guys should. It's still an amazing build. It still has shown me that it's possible to farm on this build at a high tier. I've been personally farming D16 Delirium maps on Essence Drain. I'll be honest, it was kind of a struggle, but it's possible, and I'm sure you guys are going to have a ton of fun playing this build. Now, my second selection is going to be Frostbolt Miner. Now, this version is a Mom Miner. Um, it doesn't have to be a mon miner. There are a bunch of different builds for mines. I just think that in general, mines have always been really strong for clearing content, for killing bosses, for being more or less survivable. I believe that the new maps for Ultimatum inscribed maps will have a lot of challenges and a lot of one-shot mechanics, and being a miner will allow you to avoid those mechanics and just kill bosses and kill difficult content from far, far away. As you can see, the clear is amazing. You press a couple buttons and the frostbolts just clear the half the map. Uh, those frostbolts travel at really fast speed, so all you have to do is just run, press first bolt, press your mines, and keep on going. Of course, this build is not min-maxed. If you min-max your build, it's gonna have a lot more damage and a lot better clear. The more investment you have in those builds, they usually start to pop off a lot better. This build is capable of killing bosses. This build is capable of speed clearing maps. This is one of the best builds I've seen in a while. And of course, first bolt has always been one of my favorite skills in the game. So if you guys want to give it a shot, I think you're gonna have a ton of fun. And yeah, just overall really solid build. Does good bosses, does fast clear. Uh, does take a bit of investment, as well as they have nerfed some mechanics in the build. They have nerfed mom mechanics this league, the agnostic mechanic, but the build itself is still going to be very, very powerful. So moving on to my to one of my favorite builds, Kokai Snow. Of course, you guys know Kokai Snow has always been my soft spot. I love Kokai Snow. I've played Kokai Snow ever since Metamorph League, and it's just a good, really good, solid build. Now, Kokai Snow have seen a nerf of the Exploit chest, but because of my mechanic of using Impulsa, Impulsa will allow you to still maintain the Exploit chest. If you guys don't know, the Exploit chest has been nerfed where you can no longer chain kills of Exploit chest because the Exploit has a chance of exploiting the monster now, instead of just being a 100% chance of exploiting monsters. Which what this means is that you can no longer chain monsters far, far away from you, so you'll be disadvantaged at clearing monsters. This is why builds like 5EV will no longer be as oppressive and as OP as they used to be. Well, but now, if you're using Impulsa, you'll see no difference and you'll still be enjoying the content. This build is viable killing bosses. This build is viable of um, speed clearing, killing difficult content, and we don't have to be self-poisoning anymore. The build itself is really, really solid. Now, one of the grievances I have with this build is that it's really squishy sometimes. You will die. It has a really high curve of investment. You'll have to invest a lot of currency before it gets really, really good. It's still viable to farm T16 maps on a small investment, but if you like to kill bosses, if you like to kill difficult content, you'll have to invest a lot more into this build. I would say for this build to feel really good in maps, in bosses, in killing Saris, you're looking at about 30 to 40 exalted investments. Uh, but still, if you feel like you can master such an amount of money for this build is absolutely amazing. You can make it tanky, you can make it be a CI build, which makes you even tankier. When it comes down to killing bosses, I think it's probably not a good idea to kill inscribed ultimatum maps, just because the there's a high chance of you dying those maps, even if you have high investment, because it's a melee, and melees are always really, really squishy. If you want to be playing a non-squishy build, you're looking for a ranged miner, or an essence drain, or anything that just doesn't die. One of the builds I really enjoyed playing was Volatile Dead on Necromancer, because the build was really tanky. It didn't do that much damage, it was decent clear, but it just never died. You'd have a shield called Surrender, which made you pretty much unkillable. You could farm full delirium, you can face tank every monster, you just never die. Now, some of the mechanics for that build have been nerfed, in the past leagues, but I still feel like Volatile Dead on Necromancer is still pretty powerful. Now, my personal choice for this league is going to be Burning Arrow. The reason why is because Burning Arrow have shown itself last league to be insanely good. It have never been nerfed. It haven't been nerfed this league. It has insane boss damage. It has insane clear. It has really good speed, and it's not that expensive. Let me show you why. As you can see, person shoots one arrow, clears half the map because of ignite proliferation. What it does is it carries over the ignite of the killing monsters to other monsters, effectively working as an essence drain. You kill one monster and the monster kills half the map for you. Now, when it comes to bossing, the the build is completely insane, which doesn't even make any sense to me. I would not expect this build to be this powerful and on bosses. Usually, when you have arrow builds, most of them aren't that good. In most cases, I would say they just don't do any damage to bosses. For example, Ice Shot would never be able to kill bosses reliably; it would just die half the time. But somehow, Burning Arrow is just insane at melting bosses. You can see this person just killed Val Temple like it's nothing. Bosses have been completely decimated, and he hasn't even taken any damage. This build is really safe, this build is really fast and really powerful on a low investment. I think this is going to be the build. But now everyone's going to be too many people are going to be playing this build, so this build might get more expensive on a league start. It probably will, because this build just have been showing itself to be insanely good. I have seen many people play this build and they have all enjoyed it. Personally, I prefer the clock playstyle of just jumping in and one-shotting a bunch of monsters, but that's just me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure to check out the people I have shown. Those are their videos, their guides. I have just taken a look at their builds and to see what is good out there. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please check me out on Twitch at Twitch TV Personal Jesus, and I'll see you there, boys. Have a good one. Peace, y'all.